Hello, everybody, and thank you for coming. I know it's getting to the end of the day, so I will try to keep this talk short and sweet. My name is Evgeniy. I'm head of engineering at SystemSeed. We are a proud boutique agency who does tech for good. We work with governments, with NGOs, charities, academic institutions, as well as other social impact projects. So let's begin. Someone said there are three things you can watch forever: fire burning, water falling, and other people working. Whoever said this clearly haven't experienced automated software updates. Otherwise, this list would have one more item. I would like to show you something really cool, something I'm personally incredibly proud of, and every time I see this, it feels like Christmas to me. At SystemSeed, we use Slack for communication with our team members and clients, and here's my favorite messages chain in Slack. First, we get a notification that security update is released. Soon after that, updates bot picks up software and creates pull request with proposed code changes to apply the update. A few minutes later, our infrastructure creates a clone of the production environment with updates applied. Soon after that, we get notification that automated regression tests have passed for the created environment. When checks have passed, the bot can finally merge pull request with changes to the main Git branch. The code change gets automatically deployed to the production environment with the latest software updates. And a cherry on this pie, a notification that post-deployment production tests have successfully completed, and we know that production is not broken, neither from the functionality perspective or from visual perspective. So within an hour after a security update had been released, we've got it already on our production website. How cool is that? Does anybody want this in their own organization? Anyone? You're in the right place. Let's talk about this. So a bit of history on how SystemSeed got into software updates automation. It all started about 3 years ago with automation of security updates. We as an organization, as most of you do as well, wanted to automate security updates because it kind of makes sense. We all know that we do this from time to time. And it was our dream as well. So we experimented with security software automation tools. It was generally successful. However, there was one really annoying thing. Quite often, automated updates failed due to way too outdated versions of other software or dependencies that the update got. So, and that required some manual involvement. This was killing the whole idea of security updates automation, because what you want from that system is not only to save some dev effort to pick them up, but to be able to deliver those security updates immediately to your production environment, kind of keep your project secure. So we ended up changing our mantra from if software works, then don't touch it, to actually keeping the software up to date all the time. And that's how we ended up updating all software, and not just security releases. I'm sure you all do software updates. You all do security updates from time to time. It might not be perfect. It might take more manual effort than you would want. It might have caused some of the hiccups in the past, in the history, but it kind of works, right? So the question is, that you might wonder, is does it really worth investing your time and energy into building things like that? Let me explain what are the main benefits that we discovered as the team. First one is security. I personally like so much telling our clients that as soon as the world has just learned about a security vulnerability, your projects are already safe. It's a very big deal and it cannot be underestimated. The second one, which is obvious, time and money. I'm pretty sure that I didn't even have to put this item. However, the question you might ask is how much actually time and effort it saves. There's one example I can give it to you. At SystemSeed, we have projects on support. Some of the projects, not all of them, of course. I'm not going to pretend that this solution will solve all of your problems with all of your software updates forever or the whole time being. It's not perfect. However, we still do have projects who we haven't touched like manually for years, and if you open them today, they all have all the up-to-date software and all the latest security updates, obviously. I hope that it sparks some interest and desire in this topic. Next one is reduced risks, because having more frequent and more and smaller incremental updates gives you more time to respond to breaking changes. So when an urgent update has to be released, nothing gets in the way. Then reduce technical debt. So having up-to-date software makes it kind of natural to use the latest features, the latest best practices, following the latest documentation. And so naturally, there's going to be less technical debt because you're using all the time the latest possibilities and the opportunities of the software. Last but not least, feeling good. Because the confidence that your projects with hundreds or thousands of dependencies are always get latest updates makes the team feel proud of what they do, of the company they work in, and it makes them stand out. That's an incredible feeling. There are obviously some more items in this list, and your team will find your own benefits of software update automation. A good thing to mention here is that moving towards software updates automation disrupts your delivery processes on so many different levels, in a good way, of course, that it just takes the delivery practices to completely next level. Let's talk about practical aspects of software updates automation, how to achieve this actually. If you ask a developer how to automate software updates, they might start talking with you about writing a script to automate composer updates and PM updates or whatever package manager they have, updates kind of thing. If this was it, I would not be here. The whole complexity of software updates automation is in building automated deployment process to the hosting infrastructure and building confidence that whatever you're going to deploy to your production environment is not going to break it. Software updates automation stands on 4 pillars: detect, apply, test, and deploy. Let's start with the first 2. There's a huge variety of ready solutions offering to look after the updates. Much more than logos I put on this slide, really. So you can look into Drupal Updates Initiative. You can pick any third-party service available on the market. Really, it comes down to your team choosing the right tool that works for you. There are tools that help you automate updates of Drupal, like WordPress, your React, any NPM dependencies, Docker images, versions, and containers, anything you can think of, basically. There are tools for that. So basically, my only duty here is to warn you from not reinventing the wheel and not going the custom route. There are definitely solutions that will work for you. Testing and deployment is far more interesting problem to solve. The ideal flow you should aim for is when an update is detected, your infrastructure should create a clone of the production environment, deploy the changes there, run tests to ensure no visual or functionality regression, and deploy changes automatically. This requires a couple of things. First of all, hosting solution should be ready for this. It should be able to spin up a clone of the production environment or synchronize data from the production environment to get the fresh version of the development environment you're going to be testing this on, and allow automated code deployments. The great news here is that most popular Drupal solutions known in Drupal community, are ready to handle this problem for you. I'm sure I haven't put all the hosting solutions that even present on this DrupalCon. That's not the main point. We at SystemSeed even ended up building our own infrastructure with on AWS with Terraform and Kubernetes. It's a long story, it's definitely not for this talk. However, if you're interested, if it happened that you also need to own your own infrastructure, and that's outside of your domain, feel free to get in touch with me. We've built this infrastructure using the infrastructure as a code approach, and so it's easily replicable on your own AWS cloud. Next thing is automated testing. At SystemSeed, we embrace a combination of end-to-end testing and visual regression testing. End-to-end tests, they spin up a real browser and emulate real user behavior who navigate through the website. They click links, they fill in the forms, submit the forms, they can check text on pages, and so on. So basically, end-to-end tests, they do exactly what an end user can do. On your screens, you can see a video of actually me pretending that I'm a test bot during doing this thing, because it does. Test bots, they do exactly this thing, apart from the fact that they run it in a headless browser, and so there is no visual thing that I could put into the slides. So I ended up cheating a little bit. Also, there's going to be a BOF tomorrow on automated testing, run by our team member. So if you're interested to get more into this subject, you're welcome to join. It starts at 9:15-ish a.m. and it's called automated acceptance testing. I've put a couple of tool names here on the slide so that if anybody is curious to explore, they know what names to look for. At SystemSeed, we standardize on Codeception for the past decade, and we are extremely happy with this, but not only for this reason, there are a couple of others. However, if you are new into the end-to-end testing, I would recommend starting with something like Cypress first. It's more modern and it has more inspirable first user experience, and you will like it first more. What visual regression testing does, it takes screenshots of the website pages before and after the change is released and compares them automatically. If it finds any changes, it then interrupts the whole deployment workflow and asks an engineer to review them manually. Those tools are configurable, so you might be wondering what if a certain part of the website is supposed to be dynamic. You can configure those areas, and in such tools, it's not a problem. So it's very flexible and configurable, but at least it gives you a confidence that changes that you're deploying will not break the visual representation of the application. Same with other pillars. There are also plenty of tools that help you with the visual regression testing. We use tools called Diffie and Percy. We prefer Diffie. It's a great tool built by our Drupal community member, Yuri Gerasimov, and we find better developer experience with that. However, Percy, that is part of Browser Stack now, if you know this service, is also interesting for its own features, especially for testing in different browsers, operating systems, and so on and so forth. For those companies who don't do testing automation yet, it's an important mindset shift that has to happen to start relying on tools for QA instead of humans. The rule of thumb that we have at SystemSeed is if automated tests pass, then the code change is safe to deploy. You should treat automated tests like it's your QA engineer. If they say changes are safe to deploy, you do the deploy. You don't ask for a second opinion. If an issue is found, you don't hire a second engineer and fire the first one, right? You help the first one to get better. And only this approach will help you, will get you the results that you're looking for. The last but not least is automated deployment of tested code changes to the hosting infrastructure. This is where you find a holy grail of engineering automation that is called continuous deployment. Tools like Circle CI, Travis CI, Jenkins or similar, they give developers a tool to create consistent deployment experience. Developers create a script, how code is deployed to the hosting infrastructure, and the tool just follows the exact instructions to deliver the code to the right place. Sometimes when I speak with my friends from other development agencies, I ask them, why don't you implement automated software updates? Their answers can be split into two main categories. They say our clients don't have budget for it. Well, clients who come to SystemSeed also don't start begging to write tests for them or do the automation of the delivery processes and the code deployments. And guess what? They all still have it. The truth is, the clients who say that they don't have budget for automation are the clients who don't have budget to waste on manual quality assurance, on manual deployments, on manual software automation. The whole purpose of automation is to be able to achieve more for the same budget, not the other way around. So they definitely want it, they just don't know that they want it. Second most popular answer is our developers haven't written tests before, it feels complex, time-consuming, they are not interested at all. I remember myself like 15 years ago, starting with writing tests in Drupal. Those tests took insane amount of time and energy with quite debatable outcomes really, and I almost hated them. Luckily, these days, there are tools which make test writing very easy and enjoyable experience. I can assure you that once you invest some time into building a good testing infrastructure as a company, you can start asking your parents or kids to help write you some tests. It is that easy these days. To give you a feel of how much time it takes at SystemSeed to write tests when a new project kicks in. So let's say if it's a 3-month-ish project, then we would usually spend up to a week maximum to build a solid QA foundation that covers the essential user journeys on the website, sufficient to start doing the automation, like automating software updates. And then, when the project grows, we just build on top of this foundation. Like 1 week is literally nothing within a project, but it helps you do all of what I just described. So, to summarize my talk, if you want to run software updates automatically, here's your checklist. Hosting infrastructure that supports creation of a development environment and code deployments. Automated detection of outdated software. Remember, we agreed, no custom solutions. Automation of deployments to be able to deliver the updates to the hosting infrastructure. And the last, automated regression testing of features and or visual representation of the website. So for each of these areas, there are tools that can help you with this journey. You just need to make sure that, you just need to actually make the first step. Start playing with them, and then you will start making sure that they play well together. If you need any help, guidance, or want to just chat about that, feel free to catch me or other SystemSeeders at our booth. We have Lego, you will not miss it out. And yeah, that's it. Thank you. Your questions are welcome. Any questions? I hope it's enabled.
Hello, hello.
Do you know how many times it failed because when my developers update a website, there is always a bug, at least a bug. And then I wondering, when it's automatical, is it really better?
That's a very good question. So, how often it fails? Let me start with the first one. I was thinking if I should include stats or not. Like I've mentioned, for small projects that are simple enough, you literally don't touch some of the projects for like years. It just works. And that's quite a cool time saver generally. Mid-ish size projects, they fail maybe 10 to 15% of the time. Big projects, 20 to 30% of the time. Due to the dependencies, the complexity really increases. However, what I've mentioned also in the talk is that still the beauty of these software updates, even when they fail, is still that these smaller but ongoing incremental updates. Like it failed, fine. We can assign a person like within a week or 2 or 3 even weeks to solve that problem. But at least within 3-ish weeks, your software will be up to date again. And so when something real kicks in and you need to update immediately, nothing gets in the way. That's still important part of the software updates automation. It's not only coming down to the fact how often it fails. Sometimes it also how often it forces developers to keep the code base up to date. And the second question was, does it really help? Oh yeah, it does. It seriously does. We're, especially for us, we're a small team. We have more projects than we have developers. And we're always had this problem like we don't have capacity to handle an update. And when first of all it started to taking out of our hands some of the simpler stuff, that's first relief. And then it started to take some of the more complicated projects updates. Sometimes they handle them automatically, and that does work. Still in majority of the cases for us. It more, I'm just thinking what's the best way to put this. Sometimes you need to fine-tune the solution that would work for your team, for your capacity, to make it work. Because it's not like you put an updates in place, boom, you're having the automates working. It's not like that. We spent a couple of years polishing it, fine-tuning it, and we got to the stage where we can pretty much rely on them.
Thanks.
Thanks for the question.
Hi. So
Hello.
We're actually developing kind of the same at our company at the moment. So I'm pretty much loaded with questions, but I reduce it to 2 of them.
Sure.
The first one is, how do you act if, or how does your automation act if there is a stage or a feature stage system with unapproved change and feature requests by the customer still laying around on an older version? So how does it act if that's the case? And the other question would be, is your solution a business secret or will it be open sourced in some kind?
I will start from the second question first, if you don't mind, because there's no secret sauce as such. You see, in my talk, I've been mentioning tools. Tools for each of the pillars. What we've done is a little glue that makes them play together, really. It's not a thing that you can just open source or release as a product. So we've not done anything smart apart from going quite far in our automation processes. And that's why I'm saying that you should try this too. It's not that complicated at the end of the day if you do it right. And the first question was stage. The way we work, we don't have this problem because of the different processes, how we deal with those, how we deal generally with the development. We don't keep anything on stage at all. The way it works, we have, for each bug or feature, we create its own standalone development environment. And so if client did not approve that development feature on that development environment, we just don't deploy it. In our case, staging works not like pre-production environment that would hold a feature for a while. It's used only for one purpose, to test how automated deployment works, to make sure that it does the right thing, that automated tests pass, and when they do, the feature goes live goes to the production straight away. We don't hold anything on stage.
So your customers don't test new features?
They do test new features, but on the development environments. So just to give you an example, imagine there is a feature, big feature 1, and we put this on a standalone development environment. We're just building for each feature we work on, or bug, or release, we create its own development environment. We might have 5, 10, 15 development environments. And as soon as the client has tested the one feature, they accept a story, and it goes to stage and then to the production if nothing breaks. Does it make sense? So we are not holding anything exactly for the reason that you mentioned, because we don't want anything to get in the way of deployments. As soon as it's accepted, it just goes live from its own standalone environment. Does it help answer the question?